Stephanie Kwame from the CAD Academy. The CAD Academy is an engineering and architectural program for secondary and post-secondary schools. I am Stephanie Kwame and I'm your host today. We are going to make a custom wheel. And if you like vehicles, you love custom wheels. This is a SolidWorks project, and we do have a PDF of this with step-by-step instructions on our instructor portal. The rig, as I call it over to the right, is my vehicle, and you can see that I am a wheel aficionado, and that I've got nice big brakes so I can stop my vehicle. So let's go and have some fun and make a nice wheel here with using SolidWorks. We had a customer that is a major custom wheel manufacturer here in Arizona, and they were a customer for years and used 2D CAD, and then they converted to SolidWorks, and SolidWorks certainly makes their job a lot easier. We're going to go ahead and start with a piece of paper up here. If I had done some templates, I could go to advanced and pick the units I want, but if I just say OK, then I do have to make a double check up here under options and document properties to make sure that I'm in the right units, and I'm not. I need to have, instead of metric, this is wheels made in the USA. It's IPS, so we're going to make sure we have imperial units to make our wheels today. Now, we talk about how drawings begin with everything is really comes from someone's mind. It's a concept, and from that concept comes sketches. So we're going to start with sketching. I'm going to grab a line here, and this is going to start in the right plane, and forgive me, I always have to say as opposed to the wrong plane, but of course that has nothing to do with it, but the right plane is the correct plane to start in, and I'm going to rotate into it so that I can see it in a 2D orientation or a plan view. And a line, of course, is geometry like circles and arcs, and if you go and listen to our little video on math, you'll find that out. I'm going to go OK here with this, and it didn't matter what size or length I made that because I get to define it with Smart Dimension. I'm going to grab my Smart Dimension, and this value should be 7.6, so I was pretty close there, but that's not good enough for making a wheel. When you've got a precision product, it has to be right on. Okay, now I want to draw a line from the midpoint of this line, and notice how it automatically found that for me. It would be nice if I could just think and it would do what I want it to do, and it's almost like that. Let's go to Smart Dimension and let's define this line, and this should be 8. So we're making the basis of our wheel right now. I'm going to do a couple of little lines up here that will be 1 inch both ways, and of course that wasn't 1 inch, was it? But that's because we get to define it next. So we're going to draw a line here too as well. The people that developed this product in the beginning got together as there were engineers because they wanted something that was easy to use. And this is definitely a product that is easy to use and easy to learn. And that's why I think it has become the #1 PC-based mechanical package out there. Okay, now let's go and do a little rim area down here. So I'm going to zoom in. Our plan is to like array this. I'm going to grab a line, and I'm just going to make the little edge of this, and this is similar to the shape I want it, and now I'm going to go and define it with my Smart Dimension. This needs to be exactly 0.50, and so it's dimension driven design, so that definitely is that. I'm going to go out here a little bit and come back in. You have the advantage of a roller mouse. I always use a laptop, and so it makes it a little bit less wieldy, or not as easy, let's put it that way. Okay, let's dimension here 0.20, and let's dimension this one, and this one is 0.20. 0.20 as well. And then we have a nice little angle here, and I don't need to change or go up there and change my dimension like, to a different dimension type. This continues on with just the one I've got, and that's 135 degrees. Green check, okay. So that wasn't very difficult to do. So we've got one side done. Let's go do the other side. I'm going to zoom. I love to zoom into the area that I'm working on. It just makes sense to see it more clearly, and you make less mistakes that way. When people say they're having a little bit of a problem or trouble with something, I always say, okay, let's zoom in there and take a look at what's going on. Let's right click and end that, and let's do a little dimensioning. Now I want you to tell me, what is this? What should this be? If you said 0.50, you have a good memory. And thanks for the help. And this is, again, I make it wider than it should be. In my mind, it should be wider, apparently. And this one is, and then the big thing is the angle. We want to make sure that the angle is exactly right. So we are coming right along on creating the geometry to create our wheel already. Now let's go ahead and take a line and grab it from this endpoint down to that endpoint. We like that. And then let's grab another line, and this line is going to go from this intersection, and we want to make sure that it is that we go parallel. And notice how I could easily just go over there and it knew what I wanted to do, and there I've got it. Again, really easy to work with. One more line and we're done. How fast and how cool is that? Let's zoom in here and make one more line across here. So from this endpoint over here to this endpoint right there. But it's constantly doing mathematical formulas for us. And I do have a book from a drafting technology book from the 1930s, and I can tell you most of that was with math because they didn't have the option to work with an awesome program like this that is constantly figuring the math for us. Let's go out into features now, and we are ready to revolve this. Now our axis of revolution, we want to revolve around this piece of geometry here. And what we want to do is we need to select some contours now. And we want to select this lovely contour and that contour, and whoa, how cool is that? I'm going to say green check, okay. Now let's take a look at what we just created. I'm going to do a rotate view here by right clicking in the middle of nowhere. Very nice, huh? Okay, let's go ahead now and change this into a, let's see, we want a front view. And now let's make a base for securing this wheel onto the vehicle. So let's go into sketch. We want a circle here, and we're going to select this plane and come in and find the center. And this circle, we're going to define this out as 4.80. So let's go to Smart Dimension and come out here, and this is again 4.80, and green check OK. Now let's come and see the situation we've got here. We got to plan our work and work our plan. I always think that's a great way to work. Whoops, I didn't green check OK, so it didn't think we were done. And now, whoops, we must not think we're done yet. There we go. Okay, let's rotate the view. Now if I look at this, you can see that that's aligned with the top of this. And what we want to do is we want to make a 2-inch base with which to secure this onto the vehicle. So we're going to do that by going to Features, and we want to do an extrude. Now the extrusion is going this way, and that's wrong. So we're going to select that, and it goes the other way. The value is 2, So that looks correct to me. And what we want to do is we want to go from the surface that it finds, and the surface would be from here, and we definitely want it to go through all. And now we're going to say OK. And let's see what we've got. So let's rotate this around and take a look. Looks amazing, doesn't it? Looks really, really good. Okay, now we're ready to do a little bit more damage, and let's do some geometry that will help us in creating our wheel pattern. So again, back to sketch, and I'm going to select a line, and the line is going to come off of this. Actually, it doesn't matter what plane, but I'm going to have it come off of this plane. Well, maybe I don't want it to come off of that plane. I'm just going to have it come off of this circle. So we're going to have it come from this circle, and what we need to do is we need to actually do an axis. So if you've never done that, you go up to View and you do a temporary axis, and so that gives us a center point to work with. It makes it a lot easier to work with. So now when I go to a line, I'm going to have something to line up with. So I'm going to go ahead with this line. I'm going to take it down, and we're just going to make a straight line. Doesn't really matter because it's going to be the angle that's the important part. And let's take one more line, and we'll make it just a little bit a ways from that line, and right click and say OK. Now the angle is important, so in order to put an angle in, we have to go to Smart Dimension, and we've done that before. We select one line, we select the other line, we come down here, and we want 35 degrees. That's the secret to doing this part. Now we're going to do a design or pattern, and this is kind of a creative function, but you might want to define it, but I'm not going to define it that well. I'm going to draw some lines and make a pattern. But if you want, when you make this, you might want to define it, but because it takes such a long time to do that, I'm just going to take a line and draw from here to here as one of my sketch lines, and I'm going to take a line as well from, and of course if it's not straight, then I've got a funky looking pattern. I might like that pretty much. From there to there, and say I'm done there. And now we're going to put in some fillets, and the fillets are going to be 5 degrees or 0.5, and everything looks good there. So I want to do this and that, and we like that. We're going to do this one and that one, we like that, and this and that, and we like that very much as well. And do we like this? Yes, we do. Like Bob the Builder, and finish with a OK. Great. That looks really great. So that's the beginning of my pattern that I want to work with. And now what we want to do is we want to cut. We are going to cut that through and our pattern here. And I might rotate this up so we can kind of see what goes on here when we do this. So I'm going to rotate that up. You can see the pattern. So let's go in, and I'm going to go to Features, and we're going to do an extruded cut. Okay, the cut is going down. We can see it's going in the right direction, but we want to make sure that we go from a specific surface. So the surface we want it to go from is that one, and we want it to go through all. So there's variations here that we can do, and that looks really great. Green check OK for that. Very, very nice, huh? And let's rotate this again and take a look. So we like that pattern very much. Now let's go ahead and do a circular. Under linear pattern, there is a circular pattern, and that is going to be our idea, and it shows that that's our feature to pattern, and we want to do the axis as our center of rotation. And I would like to have actually 7. I want 7 items. That's why I did the degrees we did. And let's see, we want to extrude cut. I think that it looks good. We're going to say big check, okay. Whoops. There we go. That is lovely, huh? Let's look at this. Enjoy the view while we can. Whoa, huh? Okay, we like that a lot. And so we are going to stop right here, and on the second portion of this we are going to use the hole wizard and make some holes in this so that we can secure this wheel. Before we go though, let's make it out of a material. Let's go to the material wizard and under appearances, metal, I'm going to make mine brass. I think that's a very, let's see if that's a cool color. Shiny. Yep, that would be great. So let's make, we basically want the whole thing to be brass, and I just picked some few items, but it's not going to let me pick that one right now. But anyway, you shouldn't have to select it. We should be able to just go here and again select something we want to use and just drag it over, and that's what I should have done. Okay, I like that very much. I've never seen a brass well, probably it is something that you shouldn't make, probably more expensive than you could ever make, and maybe wouldn't even work, but there she is. Okay, so in the next video we are going to play with the hole wizard. Thanks for listening.